Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is when your fave is problematic, whether this is an author or a creator. These are just my thoughts about it, kind of my own strategy, how I approach things. I don't think that you have to only read perfect books, consume perfect content from perfect creators, right? So I think that there is always a balance, and all of this is up to your own personal discernment. However, it is something that's a bit sticky because people who disagree with you, one direction or the other, might have words to say to you about it. And sometimes we don't want to deal with that, but it is the reality that people do have to kind of judge you based on your choices, the information that you put out there. They're just going off of what they know. So when it comes to problematic authors, I do kind of prefer to work in patterns, whether that is a pattern of behavior by the author, a pattern of behavior by the creator, or even the reviewer. If they are consistently continuing to read problematic authors and never acknowledging the discourse or the issues, I don't love that. I think that it is perfectly fine to read books that maybe have some sort of issue and acknowledge it. Just mention it, just talk about it. Don't discount the people who are speaking about it. Don't try and act like their feelings or their experiences are invalid. I think that those are some big missteps that people do. So when your fave is problematic, also to me is a little bit different than this random author that I wasn't really reading anyways, finding out that they're problematic, because I just won't read them. Like, if I don't already enjoy you, I won't even start consuming your content if I see people calling you out, generally speaking. There can be some exceptions to this, which I'll talk about, but generally this is someone that you actually really enjoy. You like their books, you like their content, you have several favorites from them. They are your favorite and they are in hot water. What do? My first thing is always silence. Always silence. Do not jump in to defend something that you don't know the particulars about. Don't put yourself in hot water that you don't need to be in, because you just need to wait a minute before forming an opinion. And a lot of times we can be defensive about the things that we like. We can also sometimes feel like if you are saying that this book is bad, then you are saying because I enjoyed this book that I'm also bad, that type of thing. And that's not really what people are saying. It's okay to not have noticed things because of your own lived experience, or because you just didn't hear anybody talking about it, or you read it a long time ago and you don't even remember that might be an issue, whereas if you read it now, maybe it would be glaringly obvious. Whatever it might be, you don't have to, get defensive about it. And I don't think you need to jump to the defense of an author or a creator who is being called out. Wait. Silence is a good option. Wait and let that person address it themselves. I think that it's a good idea to not jump in there before that happens. So then our very next step is, how is the response? Their response to me is the make or break deal factor. It is the part that I am most interested in, because we cannot be perfect. We cannot handle everything with all of the grace and care and knowledge that we maybe should. And we are bound to make missteps. We are bound to. When someone tells you that you are wrong, how you handle that really, for me, decides whether I'm willing to stay with you or if I'm jumping ship. And sometimes, I don't. Sometimes I still love them. Taylor Swift has her fair share of controversy. And I acknowledge that, and I don't argue against that, and I still am going to listen to her music continuously. So I'm not trying to be holier than thou or anything, but with my platform, I do try to be very mindful of who is going to be comfortable on my channel and in my comment section. And I know who I want that to be, and it's marginalized people. You name it, you name the identity. If it is marginalized, I want them to feel safe here. And that means that their oppressors, the people who are actively invalidating what they have to say, cannot feel comfortable here. You cannot be comfortable for both groups of people. And I know who I want to be a safe space for, if you will. What is the response? Do they acknowledge the issues? Do they fix it? Do they take immediate action? Or are they out here blocking anyone who brings it up and, deleting comments or never saying anything about it? I hate that response. I do. Or do they wait until it reaches the boiling point and they can no longer ignore it, and then they kind of give a half-hearted, it's not really my fault, you shouldn't really be offended? Or sometimes it's not even half-hearted, it's very aggressive, you shouldn't be offended. That's going to be a turnoff for me. That's going to be something that I am probably going to part ways with you on, because it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. And particularly when it is against marginalized people. That bothers me so much more than random disagreement on the internet, is if people are calling out your representation or your language or what have you, and you are not willing to adjust and listen, and instead are very defensive about it. And it is human nature to be defensive, so that's why I think you should take a hot minute before you respond. Number 3, what are the affected people saying? Are they generally happy with the response? Are they saying this is not a huge issue, but is something I would like addressed and fixed moving forward? Are they saying this is a complete deal breaker for me? I cannot be comfortable in the space of anyone who is recommending this book based on this behavior. What are they saying? Where's the general consensus? And you can always find a handful of people of any identity that are like, it's fine. I don't understand why everyone is so easily offended these days. I'd be very cautious about only listening to the people who are like, it's fine. I think that is a bad faith approach to, is this something that I need to be aware of or not? Like, I think that you must listen to the criticism as well as the it's fine, okay? Number 4, how do you feel about it? If you are going to be promoting that book on your channel, are you going to feel iffy about it? There have been many times where I still liked the book, right? I still liked the book, but just emotionally, I did not feel comfy promoting that book anymore. I did not feel comfy recommending that book or giving it a spotlight on my channel. And because I didn't feel real good about it, that was my decision maker. And then 5, how severe is it? So many people are constantly mixing murderers and abusers and manipulators, and this person said a comment that maybe they shouldn't have said, or this person was a little bit rude at a signing, or this person used not the best representation in their book, certainly nothing that we haven't seen before, but it's not the best. It could have been a lot better, and we can expect better. I don't think that person is on the same level as someone who is actively causing harm to the community. And also, again, like, was this a first offense? Was this a mild offense? What was the response? It's just, you have to actually approach it with thought and care and, a willingness to listen and just like an evaluation. You can't decide to go into it with, you had already decided what you wanted, so you're just going to find people who agree with your preferred outcome. Like, be open to having your mind changed. And just, how bad is it? Can you just not read them? Or are they marginalized and maybe the outrage is disproportionate to the offense, and so you feel like you don't want to be a part of that outrage, you want to support them? There's a lot of different things. For me, I really do tend to avoid authors and creators who are problematic in some way. It's not an across the board thing, and I know that I hope and trust that when I fall into hot water at some point in time, that people are willing to watch my pattern and know that that's not what I tend to do, or that's not what I stand for, or that's not what I believe in, and would be willing to forgive me for a misstep if I am willing to correct it, and I think that that's all that any of us can ask. So I'm willing to forgive a lot if their response is excellent, honestly. And if the response is not that hot or is just silence, that does leave a bad taste in my mouth. Even if I continue reading them, it does still leave a bad taste in my mouth. So also, I did on purpose wear my SJM shirt for this, so you're welcome. That's it. I'd love to know what your own personal philosophy approach is with this, how you feel about these things. I know there are a lot of authors and creators that I just won't do stuff with because it just seems like they are always okay with problematic behavior and are never okay with them being called out for it. And I'm just like, that's not who I want to hang out with. So that's it. Do let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.